Identifying logical fallacies in arguments and discussions is essential for critical thinking and sound reasoning. Logical fallacies are flaws or errors in reasoning that can undermine the validity and credibility of an argument. Here are steps to identify logical fallacies effectively. Understand common fallacies. Familiarize yourself with common logical fallacies, such as ad hominem attacks, straw man arguments, appeal to authority, false dichotomy, slippery slope, and appeal to emotion. Learn to recognize the characteristics and patterns of each fallacy. Listen carefully to arguments. Listen attentively to arguments and discussions, paying close attention to the structure, premises, and reasoning behind each statement. Be aware of any inconsistencies, contradictions, or flaws in the logic presented. Question assumptions and assertions. Question the assumptions and assertions made in arguments to assess their validity and logical coherence. Scrutinize the evidence, reasoning, and conclusions presented, and look for any unsupported claims or logical leaps. Look for red flags. Be alert to red flags or warning signs that may indicate the presence of a logical fallacy, such as personal attacks, appeals to emotion, sweeping generalizations, or oversimplified arguments. Question any arguments that rely heavily on rhetorical tactics or manipulative techniques. Evaluate evidence and sources. Evaluate the evidence and sources cited in arguments to determine their credibility, relevance, and reliability. Be skeptical of arguments that rely on anecdotal evidence, cherry-picked data, or biased sources without adequate substantiation. Check for logical structure. Analyze the logical structure of arguments to identify any flaws or inconsistencies in reasoning. Look for errors in logic, such as non sequiturs, conclusions that do not logically follow from the premises, circular reasoning, or false analogies. Assess counterarguments. Consider counter-arguments and alternative perspectives to challenge the validity of an argument. Evaluate the strength of opposing viewpoints and assess whether they are based on sound reasoning and evidence. Consult reliable resources. Consult reliable resources, textbooks, or online guides that provide explanations and examples of logical fallacies. Use these resources to deepen your understanding of different types of fallacies and how to recognize them in arguments. Practice critical thinking skills. Practice critical thinking skills by actively engaging in discussions, debates, or analytical exercises that require you to evaluate arguments and identify logical fallacies. Cultivate a skeptical mindset and approach arguments with a critical eye. Seek feedback and discussion. Seek feedback from peers, mentors, or experts on your ability to identify logical fallacies in arguments. Engage in constructive discussions and debates to refine your reasoning skills and deepen your understanding of logical fallacies. Stay curious and open-minded. Stay curious and open-minded in your approach to identifying logical fallacies. Be willing to question your own assumptions and beliefs, as well as those of others, in pursuit of sound reasoning and rational discourse. By following these steps and honing your skills in recognizing logical fallacies, you can become a more discerning and critical thinker, capable of identifying flawed arguments and reasoning more effectively in various contexts.